guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm glad that you're watching. If you're new to the EvaMtalii channel, EvaMtalii is basically a YouTube channel as well as a blog that teaches you not only how to hack travel using your Kenyan passport, but also shares with you the different ways you can make money to afford a travel lifestyle. And once in a while, you're also going to get different posts that share different ways that you can follow your dreams. So for example, right now I am slightly over 40 and I am learning to play the violin. I am learning sign language. So occasionally you're going to get videos that inspire you and show you that it's never too late and you're never too old to follow your dreams. So without much further ado, in today's video I'm going to share with you the different ways in which you can collect money for your Airbnb business in Kenya. And Airbnb here basically stands for any short-term rental property that you may have, and it doesn't matter whether you list it on Airbnb or you have your own personal website or you're using different booking platforms. So when I say Airbnb, I'm basically referring to the different short-term rental properties that you may have. Additionally, so basically if you list your property on the Airbnb.com platform, they basically handle the payments for you. So what happens is that when the customer books your rental, Airbnb collects the money on your behalf, and I think a day or two after the client has left your property, then Airbnb disperses that money into I don't know, depending on what payment method you have chosen. But if you're using a platform like booking.com, for example, or you have your own website to list your property, or maybe you're using social media to list your property, what that means essentially is that you are the one who is responsible for collecting the money. And in a situation where your Airbnb is listed on another platform that you have to pay commission for, you're responsible for collecting your money and then giving the commission to the platform provider like booking.com, for example. So I'm going to be giving you the 7 different ways in which you can get paid for your Airbnb property in Kenya, and I'll share the different pros and cons of each method. So the first method that you can use to get paid for your Airbnb is what we call the Payoneer prepaid debit card. So this is one of my favorite methods for getting paid for online work or online services, because number one, if you sign up for for Payoneer, for example, using my link or a link of anyone who is participating in the Payoneer referral program, you get $25 free money. Like the moment you top up or you get paid through your card and it hits like $1,000, you get $25 free, just like that. And then it's free to get the card. So like you will have to register online and fill up a little detail, and then Payoneer will process your card and send it to your physical address. So it's like a physical card. And then the other beauty with Payoneer is that when you register for Payoneer, the card, you also get access to different bank accounts. So for example, you get a USD bank account, you get a British pound bank account, and you get a Japanese yen bank account, and also a Euro bank account. So why is this important? This is important especially when you're getting paid through different methods. So for example, you're not just running your Airbnb, maybe you have an Etsy business, or you're working on Upwork.com or on Fiverr.com, for example. So using the same card, you get paid for your Airbnb, but also you also get paid for the different online services, and you choose which currency you want, so you don't have to suffer the different currency fluctuations. And you can use the card. So if you like, you can actually take out money from an ATM in Kenya, any ATM that accepts MasterCard. You can use your Payoneer card on it. But also if you want to shop online, like if you want to buy an air ticket, or you want to pay for, I don't know, your travel, whatever other thing you want to do online, you can use your card. So that's one advantage of going the Payoneer way. And then in addition, it's free to get the card. I think I already mentioned that it's free to get the card, and it doesn't have limits. Like there's no day your account is gonna be shut because I don't know, clients have paid you $1 million. No, they don't have limits to how much money you can get paid on your card. And as you're gonna go down, you're gonna realize the different other methods have different ceilings and challenges when it comes to getting paid. The main disadvantage that I would say for Payoneer, it's not a disadvantage per se, is there's some charges associated with using your card, which is expected. I mean, they have to pay for running the service and providing it to you. So again, when you check the Payoneer website, I'm going to leave a link at the bottom. You can get to find out exactly how much does it cost to use the card, in terms of when you want to do withdrawals, how much do they charge you at the ATM, or if you need to, I don't know, maybe send money or whatever other ways. I'm going to leave a link at the bottom. So the second way to get paid for your Airbnb property is PayPal. So PayPal basically is an account that you sign up for online, and your PayPal account basically is the email address that you used to sign up online. So one thing I like about PayPal, it's very easy to set up, and once you set it up, you simply can either link it with your Airbnb property platform if you're using the Airbnb.com platform, or if you're collecting money yourself, you simply give your client your PayPal address, which is this email address, and they send money and you get money instantly on your PayPal account. So again, what are the advantages of using PayPal to receive your Airbnb money? So number one is that if you're based in Kenya especially, you can transfer money directly from your PayPal to M-Pesa. Like, it takes like 2 seconds to do that. And again, I'm gonna leave a link at the bottom for an article that shows you how to link your PayPal account with M-Pesa. And then the other advantage of PayPal is that if your property is listed on Airbnb, immediately after Airbnb releases your payout, you basically have the funds in your account in like 1 business day. But in a case where the client directly pays you on PayPal, it takes like maybe an hour maximum, and you have the money in your account. And then number 3 advantage of PayPal is that with your PayPal account, you can pay for online services. Like, you don't have to withdraw the money if you don't want to. So you can pay for, I don't know, accommodation at Airbnb. You can pay for your travel. There's different airlines that accept PayPal to buy air tickets. So there's like tons of things you can buy online with your PayPal account. So again, like the Payoneer debit card, with PayPal, you can use it directly to pay for stuff online. And then sending money to family and friends is free when you're sending them like from PayPal to PayPal account. If you're just basically sending little money to your friends and family, it's free of charge. I mean, like, that's so cool, you know. It's like really, really a cheap way of sending money, like 0 fees to send money to your friends. But if you're sending like to a business account, like if you're buying something, it costs a tiny sum of money. Now, what are the main disadvantages of using PayPal for your Airbnb? So number 1, like Payoneer, when you sign up for an account, especially a business account for PayPal, it's free to sign up. However, it attracts some charges. I think it's about 2.9% when you receive money for goods and services. So if it's just like, I don't know, your buddy sending you money, it's free. But if it's a business account and somebody pays you using your PayPal address, it attracts, I think it's 2.9%. Again, I'm gonna leave a link at the bottom and you can check how much it costs. And then when you transfer the money from your PayPal into M-Pesa, again, it's gonna cost you some little money, but I think it's worth the convenience. And then, like, my greatest pet peeve with the PayPal is that PayPal is notorious for freezing accounts for no apparent reason and without warning. So let's say, for example, you've been running your Airbnb and it's like picking up slowly, and then one day, for whatever reason, boom, like your Airbnb gets famous. So maybe like an influencer like myself showcases your Airbnb on my platforms, and all of a sudden, like, all my readers want to book your property and you start getting all this kind of money coming in. PayPal is just gonna shut down your account. And I've read cases online where somebody started getting getting paid money for their property when it finally picked up, and then PayPal just froze their account. And the challenge is that when they freeze your account, they freeze your account with all the money. And there's also cases where, of course, PayPal will freeze your account if you break their terms and conditions. So again, I'm going to warn you, if you choose to get paid using PayPal, just make sure you read their terms and conditions and make sure you don't break any of them, because the day you're going to be suspected of breaking any of those terms and conditions, it's going to freeze your account without warning. And then again, there's the verification issues, which mostly I think affects us as Kenyans or people who live in Africa and probably Asia. So when you sign up for a PayPal account, you will need to verify it. And the way to verify it is to link a credit card or a debit card to the account. And usually it must have money on it. So what happens is that PayPal is going to deduct some money from your card to just make sure that it's really yours. And then you have to go over to your credit card or debit card account and get a code or something, and then come back to PayPal and enter that code, and then PayPal gets money back to you. So in an event where you don't have, a debit card or a credit card, or you don't have money on your account, basically you can't verify your PayPal account. And in such instances, what it means, PayPal may allow you to operate, but with very limited functionalities. So like, I don't know, you can't receive, I don't know, maybe more than some hundreds of dollars, for example, and you can withdraw so much money. So there's just so much that comes with your account when it's not verified. The third way in which you can get paid for your Airbnb property in Kenya is basically using what we call a direct bank deposit, or what they call ACH, or automatic clearing house. So this is basically where you issue your bank account number and details, and your client pays you, wires money into your account. So the main advantage of getting paid directly into your bank account is that you normally don't need to pay any fees, especially if it's a local transaction. However, if it's a money that is being sent from outside the country, there's some fees that most banks will charge you, but generally it's basically free to receive money. And then when you get direct bank deposit, it allows you money directly into your account, so you don't have to go through, like if it's PayPal or if it's Payoneer and you want to use the money in your account, like you have to do another layer of transfer. But when the money goes directly into your bank account, there's no other layer of transfer. So what are the main disadvantages of getting paid directly into your bank account? So number one for me is the high odds of fraud. This is because you're basically giving away like your entire life. You're giving somebody your full names, you're giving your bank account name, your bank account number, the address, like all the details. So it really sets you up for fraud. And then number two, it may take a while between when somebody actually deposits the money into your account and when it's actually available for you. So again, most banks usually take 3 business days or 3 working days before the money reflects into your account, and usually this is lost time and money, especially where you're not sure if should I let this client stay as we wait for the money to reflect, or what if money bounces. So there's a lot of really uncertainties involved, and then of course fees may apply. The fourth way to get paid for your Airbnb property when you're in Kenya is through Western Union or MoneyGram, or all those kind of different ways that fall under the MoneyGram area. And the main advantage of receiving money through Western Union or MoneyGram, for example, is that it's very easy. Like, you don't have to sign up for anything. As long as your client has sent the money, they simply give you I think it's like a 12-digit something and your ID. That's all you need to go and collect your money. And then in terms of location, you can get your money from pretty much anywhere. There's a Western Union or MoneyGram agent, and there's tons of them throughout the world, throughout Kenya. And then the money is usually instant. So for example, if somebody sends me money by Western Union right now from the US and I am in Kenya, the money is available almost instantly, as long as I have the details. And then you don't need to have a bank account, you don't need a credit card, you don't need a phone, you don't need anything to have your money. All you need is your ID and the reference number that your client is going to send you. But what are the disadvantages of getting paid through Western Union and MoneyGram, for instance? So number one, cash can be cumbersome. I mean, it can be cumbersome. For example, the only way for you to get your money from Western Union, MoneyGram, you have to go and present yourself physically to an agent. Like, you can't send somebody, you can't like say, can you wire it to my phone? You have to go there physically. And if you live in a city like Nairobi, I mean, you don't want to go to town if you don't have to. So that's the main disadvantage. And then of course there's the currency exchange losses. So it doesn't matter if your client sent you money in US dollars, you can only receive it in the currency of the agent's location. So for example, if you're based in Kenya, you will only receive your payments in Kenya shilling. And then the third disadvantage of Western Union and MoneyGram, for example, is that you can't virtually track payments. So because there's no like record that you get of the monies you've received, so if you're the kind of person who wants to like track how much have I been receiving, like you can't track it virtually. And then it's a very easy target to scam artists due to funds being virtually untraceable when you receive them. Now, the fifth way to get paid for your Airbnb is by cash on arrival. So this is basically where your client will book your property and they pay you in cash when they get your property. So the main advantage of accepting cash for your property, obviously number one, is that there's no added fees, like literally for receiving money. So it's just like, it's 1,000 bob, it's 1,000 bob. Like, it's not like, let's say if they pay me by PayPal, they pay me 1,000 shillings, but when it hits my account, because I'm charged 2.9% of that, it suddenly reduces. When it's cash, like it's the value of that paper. And then number two is just fast and convenient. Like, we don't have to go through I don't know, 10 steps to send the money and to withdraw it. It's just cash, like you give me, I give you. Now, what are the disadvantages of accepting cash in your property? So number one, it's very easy to be defrauded with fake money. So, and that doesn't matter whether it's you're paid in local currency or in, foreign currency. So let's say, for example, right now in Kenya, we are transitioning from the old currency notes to the new ones. So not all of us are like very familiar with the nitty-gritties of the new currency. So it's very easy for someone to defraud you. And even when we used to have the old notes only, it was still very easy for someone to defraud you and give you like a fake note. And it's even worse when you deal with foreign currency. Like, it's so difficult to tell like what's a real dollar and what's a fake one. And then secondly, it's very disadvantage of accepting money in your property is that it can get stolen. Like, it's risky. It can get stolen either when you store it at the property, or even when you're on transit to take it elsewhere, like to the bank or to an agency or to your house. Like that is that added risk layer. And then the worst case of all is struggling to issue change. So let's say if the property is like 7,300 shillings a night, and the customer gives you like, 8,000 shillings. Like, sometimes you don't have the exact change to give them, but it gets even more complicated when the client pays you in foreign currency and they expect their change back in foreign currency. Like, it gets so complicated. And yeah, so that's like the main challenge of receiving cash at your property. The fifth way of getting paid for your Airbnb property is through credit card and debit card. So again, if you're going to be listing your property like on a website like Airbnb, this is not like really a big deal. You can simply just link your debit card or your credit card. But if, let's say, you're listing your property on a website like booking.com, where you receive the money upfront and then you give Airbnb their portion of the commission. So that means that in order to be able to accept credit cards or debit cards at your property, you must have a POS machine, like the credit card machine that your guests are going to be swiping. So basically, it's not very difficult to get this. I used to have one, and basically just approach your bank and ask them what are the requirements for setting up POS payments at your property. And I love, like, it's my favorite. Next to Payoneer, it's like my second favorite way of being paid with for my Airbnb property, because it's got so many advantages. So first of all, accepting credit cards or debit cards at your property could significantly boost your booking. So there are very, very few travelers these days who travel with cash, again, because of the risks associated with cash, like I've just mentioned above, but also it's just cumbersome. So card holders are more likely to book a stay at a property that accepts credit than one which does not. So statistics actually show that 90% of all online payments are done using credit cards. So if you're offering a service that can be accessed online, so like for example your property, people are booking it online and they can't be able to pay using a credit card, like I think you're leaving a lot of money on the table. So personally, the moment I started accepting credit cards, like people, when I got the POS machine and people could actually come and swipe their cards in payment, I saw a corresponding increase in my stay, like in the number of stays, like almost immediately. And then number two advantage of accepting people to swipe cards and debit cards in your property is that it's very fast and convenient. So especially if you're using POS machines like the Ingenico from Equity Bank, in my experience, it's like the best POS machine you can always get, because number one, to use the POS machine, POS machines use internet to communicate with the bank and the credit card provider, and usually with the Equity POS machine, it runs on GPRS, the Equital GPRS, I don't know, 4G or whatever. And the beauty with that is that there's not that many Equital users, so it means you're not like competing with, say, I don't know, another POS machine from another bank that relies on maybe Safaricom or any other 4G internet provider, for example, plus 20 million other users on the Safaricom Wi-Fi network. So that's why, in my opinion, like if you can get the Equity Ingenico POS machine, please go for it. And then the third advantage of accepting credit cards is that by setting up Airbnb, you're basically a competition for hotels in your area, and most hotels in Kenya right now are accepting debit cards and credit cards. So don't lose your potential guests to your competitor just because you couldn't accept cards. And there's other Airbnb properties who are accepting credit cards and debit cards. So the moment you're not accepting this for payment, you're basically giving free money to your competitor. And then in my experience, card holders tend to be more affluent than non-card holders, and therefore they're generally impulse buyers, which means they are not limited by the amount of money in their pocket. So when they see something that is appealing, even if they hadn't planned for it, they are very likely to purchase it. So for example, when I ran my Airbnb, I actually had like a little desk in the corner where I put some different African handicrafts. So like we had kiondo baskets there, I had Maasai earrings, Maasai bangles like this one right here. I also had like necklaces and so many other knickknacks in the cabinet. And the moment I put this on display, like so many of my guests were like, wow, I really like this, can I have it? And just because I had a POS machine, I didn't have to worry on losing additional sales. So I think it's one way of just, you know, upselling your property and getting to sell an additional add-on service, because people are not limited by the amount of cash in their pockets. The other advantage of accepting credit card and debit cards is that in case a client damages your Airbnb inventory, you can take care of it with ease. So usually what I'd do, I'd take a deposit on your credit card, and when you check out and everything is in good state, I would take back the money to you. So this is a little difficult when you're dealing with a cash client, because they could tell you like, I don't have money, for example, and it's very difficult to put a hold in case of damages. And then the other advantage you have with accepting the clients to swipe their cards in your property is that because the way they have to, they can only use the credit card and the debit card by swiping the machine in your property, it gives you an advantage of asking for valid ID, and also it gives you a chance to, you know, reduce any instances of fraud, because you actually you have a chance to actually compare the signature on the card or compare the name on the card with the ID that the client issues to you. And then I think this is like really something that I didn't notice until much later, is that when you accept credit cards in your property, it gives you some level of legitimacy and professionalism, because I know, like, for my POS machine provider, they actually gave me some credit card logos, which I stuck on my Airbnb living room. So for example, things that we accept Visa card in this property, we accept what do you call them, we accept debit card here. So that logo gave me a lot of legitimacy when clients would come to the property and they see all those stuck on the decks. Like, you look real and really professional, and it created a sense of familiarity and trust in my Airbnb guests' mind. And several of my guests actually were kind enough to mention this to me. So I think it's one way of adding some trust, some layer of trust and legitimacy to your property. And last but not least, advantage of credit cards is that credit cards for your Airbnb, it gives you like digital visibility, since your POS machine is actually linked to your bank account. So every time somebody pays you on your POS machine, the money is directly transferred into your bank account. So why is this important? So let's say 2-3 years down the line, you're making money and you need to expand your business, and you might need like a loan from your bank. So usually banks would ask for like a pay slip. So just your POS machine acts as a pay slip to you, because it gives an independent record of money that has come into your account, and you could get like a credit facility, or for whatever kind of, and if let's say you needed like to apply for a visa, for example, some banks, some embassies would ask you for bank account details, and I think this is like a really legitimate record of what you do for a living. So what are the disadvantages of debit cards and credit cards for your Airbnb properties? So number one, the speed and completion of a transaction is entirely dependent on the POS machine and the internet service provider the machine uses. So there are cases whereby if you're using machines that depend on other internet service providers that are not very reliable, you could have cases where transactions don't go through, or they fail, they cancel midway, and it's not a nice thing. And then secondly is that clients who pay with a debit card or credit card may dispute a bill at a later time. So that's why it's very, very important to always get signatures to write receipts. So personally, I always added a double layer. As much as the POS machine gave me a printout of your transaction, I went a step further and asked for your signature, and I issued you with a receipt. So it like backup for me in case a client complains. I can show my provider like, hey, this guy actually, or this lady actually used the service and actually issued a receipt for it. The seventh, last but not least, for getting paid for your Airbnb is through M-Pesa. So basically, to accept M-Pesa for your Airbnb, there's two ways, actually three. You can actually get a pay bill account from Safaricom, or you can use your personal Safaricom line, or you could ask for, get like a different business line. So it really depends on you. And what are the advantages of accepting M-Pesa as payment for Airbnb? Of course, number one, it's very easy payment method, especially for your local Airbnb guests, but are so used to paying by M-Pesa. And for those who may not have a debit card or a credit card, or PayPal, it's an easy alternative for making payments. And right now it even has like the Feliza functionality. So that means if your client, for example, likes something in your business, or for whatever reason they want to add an additional stay and they don't have money, they could actually just Feliza it, or get an M-Share loan, or I don't know, there's like different options. And then it's very easy to track, because M-Pesa sends you a statement monthly. You also have the option to get like a mini statement from your account, and also you get a receipt with a transaction number. So how cool is that? And then M-Pesa transfers are instant. Like here, you don't have to wait for 2 days or 3 days for the money to reflect. It's like instant. Unamalizana na client and they enjoy their stay. And The main disadvantage of M-Pesa, number one, sometimes the M-Pesa system can be down. I think this has happened, like, I think it was early this year, where for like, the main disadvantage of M-Pesa is like sometimes the system fails you, like it shuts down. I know we had a case, I think about 3-4 months ago, where the system just shut down for like 24 hours. This can really be an inconvenience. And then number two, it costs money to withdraw your money from the M-Pesa account, unless of course you decide to pay, you know, for services like a Tuskys or whatever using your M-Pesa account. So some closing thoughts. So basically I have shared with you 7 different ways for getting paid for your M-Pesa services, and I have tried to really be transparent with each and every one of them, giving you the pros and cons of each. And basically those are the ones that I have personally used, and those are the ones that I'm familiar with. If you know of any others that I haven't included, let me know in the comments below. And remember, when you're making your choices, don't just base it on costs. Look at all the different pros and cons, weigh your options, and make a decision of what works best for you. Personally, I have used all of them, except Western Union, I think, and MoneyGram. But my favorite is Payoneer and the POS machines. What do you think of these alternative methods of getting paid for Airbnb? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked this video, please remember to like it and share it with all your friends and acquaintances. And let me know in the comments below, do you have any other questions about running your Airbnb business in Kenya? Do you have some, ideas for more videos you think I should shoot in this area? And remember to check my other video on how to start an Airbnb business in Kenya, like the entire guide from choosing your property to buying towels, like everything is covered. So thank you very much for staying up to the end. I am glad that you stayed with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.